All right, I'm back. After I paused the video and stopped it, I realized most of you probably fast forwarded through that video, so what looked like a 20, almost 30-minute video is actually a lot less, so I'm not feeling bad that there's this follow-up video. All right, we are going to talk about systems of equations, which again, we talked about in the first chapter, so anything we're doing now does go back to chapter 1, and it will help you with those corrections. So what we do is we have two functions, f of x and g of x, and we're going to solve for x when f of x equals g of x. So first, that means I'm going to take f of x and g of x and set them equal to each other. And my goal is to solve. So what I first notice is, going back to my green page, is I have more than one type of x. I have x's with different degrees. So I'm going to need to solve. And what happened in our very last problem is I told you solving needs to be in standard form, ax squared plus bx plus c, and it has to equal 0. That's not what this looks like. So I'm going to have to move this x to join this x, and since this is a negative x, I'm going to add x here. It gets rid of it, and I'm going to add x here. So that becomes 2x, and then to get rid of the 1, since they added, I'm going to subtract. And when I subtract 1 from an already subtracting 2, I get negative 3. Factoring has to be in standard form. It has to equal 0. So now what I'm going to do is look for GCF. I don't see one, so I'm going to make my x, and I need factors of negative 3 that get me to 2, and these are the only factors of 3, and luckily it works. I'll make that one negative. And now I can go straight into my factors or into my neighbors and ask, all right, who would meet who to get x squared? And I feel like it's whom would meet whom, but I don't know. So x would meet x, and that would give me the x squared. So now I'm going to let these numbers again help me figure this out. So who can x meet somebody to get negative 1x? And it can, negative 1. And can this x meet somebody to get 3x? And it can, it's 3. So now when I'm done, I'll set each factor equal to 0. Very fast. This is x equals negative 3. And if I add 1, this is x equals 1. So let me remind you, because in the first chapter, this is what this happened, that this is a system of equations. And technically, these both equal y, and they both equal each other. So in the first chapter, we taught you that you could actually just type this into your calculator, one of them into y1, and the other one into y2. Make sure you use the negative button here. And then if you hit zoom 6, that's how we start every graph, you're going to see your two u's. The first one is a regular one. The second one is flipped. Oop, I must have left out no, it's a line. I take it back. And so I want to see where these answers meet. And I know that there's going to be two answers because of this. And so if you go to your second trace for calculate and you choose option 5, what you need to do is move your cursor close to where you think it is. And if you hit enter 3 times, there's one answer. And I just had to solve for x. So x is 1. And again, if I put 1 in here and do my math, according to this, I get 0 as my answer. All right? And then on the other one, so I'll do it again, second trace, choose option 5. I'm going to move over here, and I'm going to enter 3 times. And when I'm done, there's my other answer, x is negative 3. Okay? So those are your two answers. So you can solve it by hand, and we did that with factoring, and you can solve it with the graphing calculator because it's a systems of equations. So let's try this one. So we have f of x and g of x. We're going to set them equal to each other. And this one we are going to solve first with the graphing calculator, and then I'm going to show you by hand. So I'm going to go back to my y equals. I'm going to clear these out and put in my new two problems. Whoops. And then negative, make sure you hit the negative button. Okay. And then I can hit zoom 6. And again, I'm looking for two answers. And these are both u's. All right, so where they meet. So second trace, choose intersect, move close to one of them. I'll do the one on the right first. I'm going to hit enter 3 times. And that first answer, again, I'm only solving for x, so I don't care about y. So x is 3. So if I put 3 in here and if I put 3 in here, what this is actually saying is you'll get 1. You'll have 1 equals 1. And then again, second trace, move that cursor over to the left side, hit enter 3 times, and we get 1. So my other answer is 1. So if I put 1 in here and do the math, I should get the same answer as if I put 1 in here and do the math. And I know that answer would be 1. Let me show you how you would do this without the graphing calculator. So first, what I would do is realize that this x minus 2 squared means 2x minus 2's. I need to get this into standard form to solve. So I'll have the neighbors meet the neighbors. So I get x squared. I get a negative 2x, and then I get another negative 2x. So I'm just going to do that in my head and make it minus 4x. And then when these neighbors meet, I get positive 4. And now I'm ready to start solving. So again, to solve, because there's more than one type of x, more than one degree of x, it needs to equal 0, and it's got to be just ax squared plus bx plus c. So I'm going to add x squared here to this x squared and get 2x squared. With this 4x, I'm going to subtract 4x from this already subtracting 4x, so that gives me minus 8x. And here I'm going to add 2 to this adding 4, which gives me 6. And now I'm ready to factor. The first thing I do notice is I have a GCF of 2. So I'm going to take that 2 out. And now I'm ready to factor. So, are there factors of 3 that can get me to negative 4? And these are the only factors of 3, and I'll have to make them both negative. So joining my GCF of 2, I'll have my neighbors meeting, and I already know that x times x gives me this x squared, and now these numbers are going to finish it. So can x meet somebody to get this? Minus 3. Can x meet somebody to get this? That's a negative 1. And now set each factor that needs to be solved, because this factor is 2. There is no solving, but this one needs to be solved, and it's 1. And this one needs to be solved, and it's 3. So I got the same answers. I personally do like the graphing calculator way, don't get me wrong, but, you know. All right, last one. Another reminder, this happened in your Chapter 1 test, just a reminder of what's going on here, some of the vocabulary. So functions have zeros. So if I did say find the zeros, I would set this equal to 0, and I would solve. So real quick solving, I need factors of negative 10x squared. That gets me negative 9x. That's 10 and 1, with the 10 being negative. There is no GCF. I should have said that first. So who are the neighbors that met? So 2x will meet x to give you 2x squared. And then 2x, for instance, can meet a negative 5 to give you this. And then x can meet a 1 to give you this. And then I can just set them each equal to 0. This one is your simpler one. That's 5. Here I would subtract 1. Then I would divide by 2 and get negative 1/2. So these are called the zeros. They're also called the x-intercepts. So again, an x-intercept is when y is 0. So if I ever ask you to find the y-intercepts, I want you to tell me the x's that if you do the math will make f of x, which is y, equal to 0. So again, it's the same thing, all right? And on this one, find the solutions. Well, what I'm trying to do is find the numbers that if I put in for x get me to negative 10. But since there's more than one type of x, I will have to get it into standard form. So I'll add 10 over. And now what I'm asking myself are what are the values of x that will get me to 10. So let's finish solving this one, then this one. So is there a GCF? No. So I need factors of 10 that get me to 7, and that will be a 5 and a 2. And I can go to my factors, and I already can guess that x meets x to get x squared. And then I can see that x could meet 5 to give 5x, and x could meet 2 to give me 2x. There's the equal 0. If you set this equal to 0, you get negative 2. And if you set this equal to 0 and subtract, you get negative 5. So again, 2 answers. For this one, I'm going to try to factor. running out of room. So I need factors of negative 28 that get me to negative 12. So let's pull that factor page back out. Yeah, right? Was it 12? So this will get me to 12, 2 and 14. So I'll put 2x and 14x, and I'll have to make the 14 negative. So again, who are the neighbors that would meet? So x would meet x, and that would take care of the x squared. And now x could meet 2 and give me 2x, and then x could meet negative 14 to give me the negative 14x. And now I can set my factors equal to 0. Here I'll add 14. There's one solution. Here I can subtract 2 and get negative 2. And now your notes are done. So sorry, probably in total your notes were about a half hour all together, since hopefully you did fast forward that other part. And that's it. So again, your homework, page 18, page 19, and I would like for you to solve for the odd problems. So just a reminder, here, these are all factoring problems, and that they do have to be in standard form, equals 0, equals 0, equals 0. Oh, that one doesn't equal 0. So I'm going to bring this x squared to join this one, so you will be working with this problem. Again, always start GCF first. In this one, these all have one type of x. So you draw your wall, and your goal is to isolate x. All right, so you're just going to do 5 and 7 for now. On this one, I'm already telling you that you won't be able to factor, so you will do the quadratic formula. But again, they do need to equal 0, because you would always try to factor first. And then if that didn't work, it would be the quadratic formula. So you will have to move, and when you have a choice of what to move, it really is better for you in the end if this leading term is positive. So I'm going to add the 4x squared to the other side and put it in standard form. And I know you didn't have to do this problem. And here, even though it seems easier to move the 4 over, it is smarter to have this term be positive. So I'm going to add the 3x squared over, subtract the 5x over to join that already positive 4. And now you're going to do the quadratic formula. System of equations, I guess you choose how you want to do this. You can set this equal to this. You can use your graphing calculator. And then the same thing here. These are systems. So y1, y2, y1, y2. And then you don't have to do 14 right now. And that's it. That's it. Good luck on your PSAT or SAT, whatever you're taking. Bring your calculators. Make sure it's charged. And that's it. I hope you guys have a good week.